Welcome to Metaverse Adventures. My name's Immersive Matthew. Today is September 26th, and this is your Oculus Connect 6 Quest news. And wow, is there ever a lot of exciting news to share with you. Not as much on the games front, but believe me, there's going to be some highlights in this newscast that are going to truly make your head spin. So grab yourself a drink, snack, sit back, relax, and let's get into the Oculus Connect news. Today's news was really mind-blowing, and as I go through these stories, you're going to see why I was on the edge of my seat in somewhat disbelief at times. The first story we're going to talk about is just a bit of a general overview that Mark Zuckerberg gave when he first came on stage. And he gave us a few interesting tidbits. One, he reiterated again that the Quest is really off to a fantastic start, that it's selling as fast as they can make them. And I don't know where they're at in terms of manufacturing, but we know that looking at our sales data that we've seen demand kind of meet supply. Finally, we had some issues there with shortages over the summer, but it does appear that the Oculus team is putting out enough Quests to meet all of your demands, because we're seeing pretty good ship times. So what the final numbers are going to be, who knows? Some thought we might hear today at how many Quests have sold. Unfortunately, we have not. I know Mike over at Virtual Reality Oasis thinks it's around 350,000, and my numbers are putting it in the 500 to a million range. Who knows who's right? We have no real data, but it sounds like Oculus is telling us that it's selling very well. They also told us today that they've sold over $100 million worth of software in the Oculus Store. And this isn't just Oculus Quest. This is the overall Oculus ecosystem, including the Rift. That's a lot of money for this early phase in VR. I was a little surprised to see that big. And they also are telling us that really as they're going forward, they're looking at making things more compatible. So if you've got a Quest and a Rift, you should be able to get similar or the same experiences as we roll forward. And that was a big news when he said that, because then he rolled into some really interesting news, specifically Oculus Link. And this one, we all sort of suspected we might see something to allow you to basically connect your Quest to your PC and access Rift content via the USB cable. And that's the part that I was a little bit surprised. I didn't think it was going to be a wired solution. I mean, we bought the Quest because it doesn't have wires, and I have high-end VR here, and I don't even use it anymore because I just cannot stand that wire. And now that I've gotten finally used to not having the wire, I don't want to go back. But that's where they're going, and this is a cool solution still because it does make your Quest basically a Rift as well. So that's pretty mind-blowing. It's going to use basically any USB 3 cable, I'm sure with some caveats, because not all cables are made the same, especially when you have a high bandwidth connection like this. It's, low quality cables sometimes just don't work. But really any USB 3. Now, the one that comes with the Quest, just so you know, is a USB 2. So this will not work. You will have to go out and buy another cable. What's interesting is that they're actually saying that they're going to offer a premium fiber cable, which I kind of raised an eyebrow. What do you mean a fiber cable? USB 3 is going to be, it's copper today. So I haven't seen any implementations of USB 3 with fiber. So they're going to have some sort of USB-C connection, some sort of converter, and then a piece of fiber in between. I don't know how durable that's going to be, but Mark did say that you can use any other USB cable. So you can either buy theirs or you can just go buy an aftermarket one. Really curious to learn more about this. And what we don't know is how long that cable is. Now, this is all coming November this year. Is this going to be a software update that basically is going to roll up to your Quest, and as long as you've got the software on your PC as well, and this cable, either the one you bought through Oculus or your own USB 3 cable, you should be able to start streaming content off your gaming PC. Now, if you don't have a gaming PC, there is hope. We might be able to use some of the cloud gaming. As you may know, if you watch my channel, there's been quite a few individuals that have gotten cloud gaming working wirelessly over a wireless network with the Quest. With some latency for sure, but the reports are that's still very playable. So this is just going to make it even better, and probably would go from playable to just as good as the Rift in many ways. And the latency over a USB 3 should be very, very low. So this is exciting. There's no exact date yet or a price on how much it's going to cost. Love to know your comments below. What would you pay for a cable to connect your Quest to your PC? $50, $100, $10? I mean, who knows? I mean, a decent length USB 3 cable is going to set you back $30 to $40 for sure, because you're going to want at least, sort of 9, 10, 12 feet, especially if your Questers have got bigger spaces, you might even want a longer cable than that, because they can go quite large. 25 by 25 feet is the maximum Guardian size. So that would be a cable to utilize that entire space. That would be a very long cable, probably something like 30 plus feet. And one thing about this, I think, is an interesting announcement. It's really good for developers, for sure. If you're developing a game for the Rift right now, you're probably like, oh, bummer. All the clients, all my customers seem to be over on the Quest. I mean, it does appear to be the #1 platform in terms of sales. And we've heard this a number of times now from other developers. So they're pretty happy because all of a sudden their game that they thought, was only going to be limited to the Rift, all of a sudden becomes available to many Questers. However, I do wonder how the Rift S camp is feeling, because all of a sudden their Rift S is not as valuable, I guess, as it was before, because now the Quest can do the same thing, but it doesn't go the other way around. So that's a bit of a painful, I think, realization for some Rift S owners today. And I think we're going to see Rift S sales really drop off because of this new cable and streaming from your PC. So this is pretty exciting, but not everyone's going to be happy. And I really hope we see some sort of adapters that we can take the USB-C connection on both sides and put something in it that then does a wireless, like a high quality wireless signal, maybe something like TPcast over on the Vive. And those are pretty low latency solutions. But nothing's being announced yet. Maybe it won't be an Oculus product, but who knows? Maybe we'll see something from a third party, because the door is now open to make that connection over USB-C. So this is a very exciting development, and I can see why Facebook did this. I mean, they've got a lot of Quest customers, and they like to make that money, especially on their AAA titles that they've been pouring a lot of energy into, a lot of money into, and they're not going to sell as much on the Rift. But now with the Quest gates being opened up, there's going to be a lot of money to be made for everyone. So it makes sense from a Facebook perspective, even though I know they probably are going to alienate a small percentage of their Rift S customers. If that's you, go ahead and comment them below and let us know how you feel about this as a Rift S owner. All right, and because of that, there are a couple titles that, at a minimum, I want to put on your radar that are the flagship titles for the Rift. And these are ones that had been developed for quite a number of years now. Oculus has always been trying to get AAA games on the platform. And as you're well aware, there aren't really any AAA games right now for VR. Maybe at best we're looking at Fallout and Skyrim that were ported, but they were never really designed and made for VR. So these games here are, and they are Asgard's Wrath, which is a RPG built right up from the ground for VR. It's got 40 hours of gameplay, plus, if you're a completionist, I mean, like way more. And it's coming out really soon, October 10th. So that's exciting because the cable comes out in November. And so, a month later, you might be playing this game on your Quest. And this is like probably the one or two most anticipated game for the Rift. And now it's a Quest title. Also, Stormland, which is a first-person kind of action-adventure game. And this is an interesting one because it has both a single player, and what I think is really special is that it's going to have a co-op as well. That's going to be a big deal because I don't know if you've had a chance to play co-op with friends. It is awesome in VR. You really feel like they're there with you. It's something very special. And this game, Stormland, has very different environments. They're constantly changing, and it has a massive scale. So both of these games are real large. They're AAA. They're being very polished. And so we can expect some pretty good reviews. Hopefully, or else Oculus put a lot of money into the wrong developers. But I think we're going to see some pretty awesome games here. That Stormland comes out on November 14th. That's relatively soon as well. And we also found out today that Medal of Honor Above and Beyond is coming. Wow, I wasn't expecting to hear this today. I mean, I knew that Insomniac Games was making something, and rumor has it might have been a game like this, but we didn't think they were actually going to take one of their top franchises on flat screen gaming and bring it over to the Rift, and now the Quest. I mean, it's going to be on the Quest too if you have that cable. It's going to have many intense battles all across Europe in sort of historical locations and a great story. And they really are putting a lot of thought into, if you're going to go in that world, how would it work? You're not going to press an A button to take that grenade in the air and throw it back. You're going to literally reach up and grab it and throw it back. And all those sorts of things, that you get to do in VR, you need to use buttons. They put a lot of thought about how we make this game to take advantage of that. So this is another one to really keep your eye out for. And really, in my view, I've been wanting to do this right back from the Call of Duty series and the original Medal of Honor series. I've always wanted to go and play this game. I see I got a typo there. It's not Medal of Hours, it's Medal of Honor. And it's coming 2020. Now, another exciting development that came today, and this one I really did not see coming at all, and that is hand tracking. Yes, Oculus Quest is going to be capable of tracking your hands and your individual fingers. As you can see in the video here, it looks pretty darn accurate. And it's going to have, as you can see, 3D representations. So there'll be 3D models, and those models will be made based on the computer vision, seeing your hands and figuring out the size and where they are. Really, this is, was not expecting this at all. And of course, this will allow you to interact within the environment. And there's a great video which I've linked below where you can see someone in the Oculus Quest home environment without touch controllers manipulating the menus, scrolling, grabbing, starting things. And it just looks very fluid and very intuitive. So this is a truly exciting development. And apparently they said today at OC6 that it has very little impact on the CPU and GPU, which is they must have some seriously efficient algorithms to do that on mobile hardware and not impact the rest of the experience. Truly, it's like magic. And this works with existing Quest cameras. So this will just be a software update when it gets rolled out. You don't need to buy anything. So for $399, you're going to get hand tracking, inside-out tracking, and a great VR experience. This is becoming like the killer system in the VR world for sure. And what's really interesting, I linked below to this article as well, there's a great video by Scott Stein over at Upload VR, and he got a chance to try it out, and his words were that basically, I could do basically anything with my hands. And he was showing the kind of things he was doing, he was pointing and moving around, and all of them, he said, were being tracked. It's not quite as smooth, he did say, as say you get out of the Oculus touch controllers, and you couldn't see in the video that he showed, what that might be, if they're a little bit glitchy or, there's a delay or lag, or I have no idea, but it's not as good as the controllers. But still, I'll take it, and what we've seen from Oculus is that they're very good at continuing to improve those algorithms and get things better and better. Like the tracking recently, they've really locked in tracking. It's very, very good. So it's really approaching Vive levels with the lighthouses. I'm super, super impressed. And this SDK and the beta for this software is coming out sometime early next year. And it's going to be a beta, so I don't know when exactly this is going to roll up to the rest of us. If you were at OC6 today, you're going to get the beta for sure because all people there were registered for it. I mean, I was in Oculus venue, so I was virtually there. Hey, Mark, do I get a copy of the beta as well? We'll see. I'll love to get one. If I do, I'll certainly be reporting it on my channel because this is really big news. Another thing that got announced today is Passthrough Plus. This is an interesting one. It's not just the regular pass-through that we see currently with the Quest. It's an improved version of it. And I don't know if you realize right now, but when you're in there looking through pass-through, things are a little bit warped and aren't quite as the right size and aren't quite as natural as in the real world. In fact, if you walk around in pass-through mode for too long, I find it makes me a little bit queasy. However, they're trying to fix that. They're going to be able to correct that view, so they're going to unwarp things, and they're going to bring the level of the quality of the Quest Passthrough to Rift S levels. Now, I actually haven't even tried a Rift S. I just have been so disinterested in wired devices, so I had to rely on all of you. How is it compared to the Quest? I'd love to know. Comment below. Is it better? Is it worse? Is it much better? Because that is what's coming apparently to the Quest. And it's also going to have pass-through on demand. Probably one of the most requested things up there in terms of features. It must be on the top 4 or 5 things I've noticed on Oculus Voice. That's where you can go and vote on features. This is simply that you're in the Quest, you hear something going on in the house, you don't want to pull yourself out and get disengaged from your environment and the VR. So instead, you're going to go and it looks like double tap the Oculus home button on your right controller, and it will just instantly turn on the pass-through. You can do what you got to do. Maybe take a sip, hit something on the keyboard, turn your music down, whatever it is, and then double tap again, and you're right back into VR. This is going to make a big difference, and it's a feature that I personally have really, really wanted right from day one. So good on Oculus for continuing to develop and build on this platform. And it's going to be available next week, starting next Monday, and it'll probably roll out throughout the week. That's typically how it goes with Oculus. These rollouts don't happen all in one day. So if you don't see it in your system on Monday, don't worry. You probably will get it at some point during the week, certainly no later than by the weekend. That seems to be the cycle for them. And what I'm curious about is latency. That's the one thing we'll pass through currently on the Quest, is that latency is definitely there. And you can try it yourself. Just go in and just move your head back and forth, and you'll see that the world takes a second to kind of catch up to you. And that's another reason what makes you queasy. So I'll really be curious to see if they've improved that as well. But wow, awesome job, Oculus. Oculus also talked about a number of social updates, and there were a couple. This one are system updates, and I'll talk another one about an application that they're deploying. On the social update side, really it's about bringing Facebook features that we've known and come to love over to the Oculus platforms. That's including the Rift S and, of course, the Quest. It's going to give you the ability to do chats both in the Quest itself with people who are outside and on your mobile device where you have the Oculus app as well. So that's pretty cool, especially if you want to coordinate a game with somebody. And right now it's a little difficult in order to reach out to them. You can't really talk to them once they're in the Quest. So this is a really much welcome feature. It'll make setting up friends and matches and co-op games much easier. And it's even going to allow you to add an event. Just like Facebook today, where you can go and create an event, you're going to be able to do that in the Quest and maybe arrange like a co-op group meetup to go play Rec Room or whatever it may be. So this is another really cool way to bring people together. So smart move on Facebook's part. And you're going to be able to even post videos and photos and comments and whatever you want directly from within the Quest without having to go to your PC. And I think that's a pretty cool way, especially for those who are big Facebook users. I'm not, but I know a lot of people are. And so this is going to be, I think, a much welcomed feature. And what they also said today is that over time, their real goal here is to bring all that Facebook, social infrastructure to the Oculus platform. And really, the way they were talking about it is that I think that their long-term plan is that really, AR and VR is the next computing platform. And so therefore, Facebook is certainly merging over there and going to be working on all their Quest and Oculus devices. And it's coming there this year. So we'll see those cool features hopefully before Christmas. And I guess, how do you feel about logging into your Quest with your Facebook account? Right now, it's an optional thing. You can link it. However, these new features I'm talking about, if you do want to use them, you will have to link your Facebook account. And so I'm curious, what do you all think about that? Something you're willing to do, or does it make you uncomfortable because of some of the privacy concerns that have been raised in the past? Or do you feel that Facebook's a new company and no longer are breaking those sorts of privacy rules? Who knows? Love to hear your comments. And talking more about social, there's also Facebook Horizon. This is an interesting one. I'm not really sure how I feel about it right now. It's a social app that's going to be built for both the Quest and the Rift, so both platforms will be able to be in the same environment. It's allow you to build your own worlds and your own experiences. So it has a lot of tools from basic, with somebody you don't need any programming experience to build a world and experience, all the way up to, if you do have development skills, you can do more in-depth stuff. So it's a real gamut of skill sets you can get in there and start creating content. It's going to allow you to play games. A lot of games. This is one here you can see right now where you're flying around with people, and they're going to do a lot more. So that's pretty cool. And it's really about exploring. And they've built a pretty big world with lots of cool areas to go and check out. You get to hang out with your friends. You get to meet new people. That's one of the core things here. And the goal that they have is to basically continually expand it. This is a big thing for Facebook. They made a big deal about it today. In fact, it was Mark himself that announced this particular one. So Facebook Horizons, definitely one to keep your eye on. They basically, when they built this app, Mark said that it took lessons from Oculus Rooms, Oculus Venues, and Facebook Spaces. And all three of those were pretty cool in their own right. Of course, they weren't perfect. So I'm curious to see what they did take from all those experiences and are bringing to Horizons. And I'm sure they've been playing VR Chat and AltSpace and Rec Room and all the other social apps like Half and Half and are taking lessons learned from them as well. And it's launching next year. Didn't say when, so that could be anytime next year. It could be this time or fall or winter. But they are coming, and it's coming next year. I hope sooner than later. And I guess the question I have, is this the Oasis? Is this what we're seeing? Is this the beginning of the Oasis? I don't know, but that sounds like it might very well be if they can pull it off and it's something more special than what we've seen to date. Because the social apps today are good, but they're all lacking something. So maybe Horizon is going to be the one that really delivers. And also, for those of you who are familiar, Quest TV is changing, and it's actually going to be growing. They're going to be taking all of their media that you have today. So there's lots of different apps that you might have for 180 videos, 360 videos, and such. They're all going to be moved. All those apps will be all moved into Oculus TV, and you'll have an icon just like you do today for them in your home screen, your library. They'll be moved into Oculus TV, so you can get access to all that content at your fingertips without having to have a whole bunch of different apps cluttering up your library. And they're also providing something called Media Studio, which is for content creators. So if you make immersive videos or immersive content that's to be watched, this is where you would upload it, and it's going to give you tracking data, statistics, so you can see what kind of viewership you're getting. Kind of like what Facebook or really YouTube, I guess, is a better example. What YouTube gives content creators so they can maximize their channel's impact. So same idea. And I have a VR camera, and I'm making content, so I'm looking forward to maybe seeing if I can put some of it in there. It'd be great if it had a monetization option as well. And that's all coming later this year. So expect Oculus TV to radically change in the next few months. And what do you think? Is this the right move to compile all that stuff into one app? I think it is. I think it's good to say that is the VR video app and it's all there. I like that better than what I have today where it's, you're opening an app, you don't realize it's the 360, 180, and then you're in, you realize it is. It'd be nice if it's just like one place. So I think it's a smart move. Love to know your thoughts. So go ahead, comment below. Another thing that came out today that was also very interesting is that the Oculus Go is going to be getting 50 apps are going to be moved over to the Quest. As is, they're doing some sort of emulation to make this all happen. And so basically, if you own the app today on your Go, you're going to be able to go to the Quest. And if it's one of these 50, and it's going to continue to grow after that, apparently, you'll be able to get it for free and play it on your Quest. And this can be rolled out before the end of the year, which is cool. So it's relatively soon. And so that's a neat one. Another news that came out was really cool is Beat Saber. They've got a bunch of things. First, that 360 mode we've been talking about for the last few months is coming out officially in December. And I can't wait for this one. In fact, the developer even said that once you play 360 mode, you're going to realize that this is the best way to play the game. And certainly when you watch the video and you see the play field sort of shift around, that is going to be so cool. You're going to be all around playing that game. Oh, I really cannot wait for that mode. It's going to make it, I think, even more visceral and probably even a better workout. And they announced today that there's a new music pack coming out called Panic at the Disco. And I love disco music, so that should be a lot of fun to get into. And it's coming out next week, so that was a surprise. I didn't see that one coming so soon either. So good on Beat Games for continually to update and put out great content for Beat Saber. And also today, we got our first official trailer for Vader Immortal II. And this one has me very excited. I really like the first one. And this one's a little bit different though, because here you're now going to get getting trained in the ways of the Force by Darth Vader. Darth Vader is going to be training you. And if you tried the original one, I'll never forget that moment in the jail cell when Darth Vader walks up to you and, whoa, he is a very tall person and super intimidating. So that's going to be pretty cool to hang out with him in VR and get trained by him. Wow, I think this is going to be awesome. You're going to be able to do things like force choke, force grab, and even a lightsaber throw. And you get this new cool lightsaber. It's like an artifact that you see right here. They made custom for this game, and it looks really badass. And they're also going to give us a Lightsaber Dojo 2, and that's going to have force and lightsaber battles. So not just lightsaber this time. And so this is going to be a place that a lot of people are probably going to spend some time in. And that once you get trained by Vader, you're going to end up going to the Korvax Fortress. So that's a pretty cool locale, and that should bring some pretty fun gameplay in there. And it's available right now. Yes, you can go to your Quest tonight, and download it right now. And same price as before, $9.99. So I'm looking forward to getting this one on my Quest and playing it probably later tonight as well. And then, of course, Facebook also gave us some interesting kind of forward-facing highlights. And I wanted to share, these aren't really necessarily Quest related, but I wanted to share them with you. The first one is, yes, Facebook and Oculus are indeed working on AR glasses. It's confirmed. They're also working on non-invasive neural interfaces. That's right, a neural interface, meaning that it can basically read you some of your body's signals. In this case, it's by Control Labs, which is based out of New York. And it's this wrist bracelet you'll see here in a moment that goes around your wrist. It basically gives you, it basically measures your muscles. And so it's going to be able to track fingers and other things I don't know yet. And maybe they're going to do one around your head. There's all these cool ways of reading the body's electrical signals and then interpreting them into action. And so that's an interesting future. It's nothing that's going to come out anytime soon. But the fact that Facebook is working so hard on this and just bought Control Labs really says that they're committed to doing something in this space. So expect to hear more at probably F9 next May, and definitely at OC7. And they also talked about their, the whole dome thing that they've been making. And this one here is Dome 3, the very cool lenses they were showing us, and they'd be able to miniaturize the technology down to something that's very, very small in a form factor that when I saw it today, I was like, that almost looks like it could be heading towards a consumer product sooner than later. So we'll see. They're working very, very hard on this. And by the way, varifocal lenses gives you basically the ability to focus your eye. Today, when you're in VR, the only way you see distance is by how your eyes converge, because the screen is never more than an inch from your face, ever. So when you look at something on the horizon, even though your eyes are focusing as if it's far away, or your eyes are converging as if it's far away, your eyes themselves don't change their focus. And this is one of the things that's a bit of a mismatch, and some people do find this a little bit uncomfortable or gives them eye strain. While varifocal lenses take care of this problem, because now when you look far away, it will actually change how it works, and it literally, your eye will have to focus as if it really was far away. So this is very exciting technology, and I think it will bring the masses to VR even more so than today, because it'll be even more of a comfortable, lifelike experience. And in this particular video right now, what you're seeing is their computer vision. And so imagine in the future, we're wearing these AR glasses and maybe we're playing our VR at home. Those cameras that are on there are taking all that data in, and they're building models of the world. And not only the model that you have, but when you're on public spaces, you're going to be able to go into crowdsourcing and get data from that. And the models will be, kind of updated in real time across the world. Just think about that for a minute. That means that at some point in the not too distant future, a lot of the world is going to be mapped into VR. Certainly cities, when everyone has these devices, like almost every inch of the city is going to be mapped. I mean, it's both good and it's also ripe for exploitation. So this is a very interesting, direction we're going. But it's going to make for some pretty interesting, technologies and opportunities for who knows what. This is going to be a very, very interesting future. And Facebook knows this, and they're working very hard in their reality labs. And the last thing I want to bring for you is some recent games. Now, this is really the only video they played that was like Quest games are coming out. And they're recent games, so you might recognize some of them. And there's a couple in there that we didn't know about, or we didn't know when they were coming, or even were official. But let me play it for you and tell me what you think. Oh, wow, hey? I'm curious, what do you think of OC6? Did you think it was interesting? And how about these video today? Is there anything here that caught your eye, that surprised you, or you're excited about? Please let me know in the comments. That's all for this show. I hope you enjoyed it. This is all done in one take. That's what I'm doing now, and I hope you like this format with the slides. Please let me know, was it visible on your phone? Was there any issues? I'd love to hear from you as I begin to polish this and get better at this new format. All right, that's all I have to say this time. I hope you're all doing well, and we'll see you all in the metaverse.